over 5 years ago, I made this redstone build, a dinky, messy, ugly escalator that I soon forgot about. A little over 2 weeks ago, it became an obsession that I spread to millions of people around the world, with all of them asking the same question. How the hell do these work? But before we get to these escalators, we need to go back in time to before redstone was even a thing. I'm talking about the very first, the very basic water escalator, which was probably invented around 2011. There isn't really a first inventor, but basically all you do is you just walk in the water, and I'm not pressing anything on my keyboard. The water takes you up this slab staircase. There's just like 2x2 sections of flowing water, and they're each spaced out 1 block above the other, and then we have signs that make sure that they don't leak into each other, and yeah, that's it. These have been around since literally the dawn of time. And then redstone finally came out, and people started making these type of escalators. Now they kind of look like a stair shape, I guess, and they do move you up. But I don't know if I would consider this an escalator per se. It's just like a bunch of pistons that move you up. But a lot of people did call this an escalator back in 2011, so I guess we do count it for this little showcase. Now, these two escalators were pretty popular for the entirety of 2011, but then came AC Tennis and he changed everything on March 27th, 2012 with his realistic Minecraft escalator. Now, he may not be the first, but he was definitely the one who popularized this layout of a piston pushing into you and then a piston pushing you up to the next level, and that mechanic actually works in modern day Minecraft, which is very cool. And in his own video, he also explains that this wasn't even his first attempt or first layout at an escalator. At first, he actually tried to make a conveyor that actually moved the blocks upwards like the stairs on an escalator. But unfortunately, that layout didn't actually move the player, so he had to opt with this piston crushing method, which a lot of future tutorials, especially on console edition, I remember this very distinctly, used for a lot of years. But yeah, basically these three designs were the state of escalators for probably the longest time for most of Minecraft's history. Until 2020-ish, when this new layout came out, and I first saw it in a FedEx Gaming tutorial on Bedrock, so I tried to emulate it myself in 2020. This was my attempt, and yeah. Like you saw in the intro, it kind of looks really stupid. On Bedrock, the reason this would work is that you can actually get pulled back on the block you're standing on. But yeah, on Java, you don't actually move. You just, yeah, you just don't move at all. You just get crushed. But yes, this was a different layout where you have sideways pistons actually pulling back the stairs, and then upwards pistons that pushed up the piston and the stair on top of it. So you get this kind of weird, like, snaking pattern. Like, imagine like those penguin toys that where they go up the stairs and then they slide down the big slide. So yeah, I made this escalator and then just completely forgot about it in 2020 until I was just flying around my synergy plot and I just happened to see it again, and then Sacred Redstone just happened to be on. And we were wondering if we could wire one of these escalators to be as fast as possible. So currently this layout only takes the stairs upwards, but what if we could make an upwards and a downwards layout? Well, it's actually really easy, and all you need to do is just rotate the pistons, and boom, we have a second layout where instead of upwards, this gold block will go downwards. And it's the exact same concept, except we just have upwards pistons instead of sideways pistons that pull down the blocks, and then the sideways pistons actually move the blocks along to the next step. Now again, here's that original layout that will move the blocks upwards instead of downwards, and it matches that same 2020 layout that we had over there. So how do we make these layouts, 1, run on a redstone clock, and 2, run as fast as possible? Well, these escalators are very similar, and they have 2 parts. The first part being the retraction that actually pulls the blocks, so downwards for that one and sideways for that one, and then the second part, which is the set of pistons that actually push the other pistons, like that. So how do we make a super fast pulse and then a slightly slower pulse that won't spit out the blocks? Well, if you didn't know, if you have an observer going into a sticky piston, it'll actually spit out the block. So this is a 2 game tick pulse. If you have a 2 tick repeater going into a piston, it will be a 4 game tick pulse, and it will actually extend and retract the block. Just like that. But we actually have something in the middle, which is a 3 game tick pulse. It is basically in between a 1 tick repeater and a 2-tick repeater, so you can think of it as like 1.5 redstone ticks, but more accurately, it is 3 game ticks. So here's the setup for that. We just have 2 observers that are detecting this trapdoor, and then 1 game tick later, detecting this scaffolding. So this middle piston is actually the fastest pulse you can give a sticky piston, where it will extend and retract the block without spitting it out. So let me just cover these note blocks so you don't hear them. You can see the difference right there. So now we have that solved, but we have the second part, which again is also pretty easy. We can just 0-tick the pistons. Look at that. This is a very basic 0-tick generator that has a normal piston, a sticky piston on the bottom, and then a 2-tick going into that top piston, and it has to be QCing the bottom piston. Now if we combine the 3-tick generator with a 0-tick generator with a 9 game tick redstone clock, we can have a proof of concept of a working escalator. This is the fastest that this layout can go. It clocks every 9 game ticks, and yeah, you can see that all the pistons 0-tick the stair downwards, and then all these sideways pistons push it across the next step. I'm trying to be far away so you don't just hear that annoying trapdoor noise, but yes, look at that. That's the layout. But obviously this wasn't going to be the final escalator design, so me and Sacred cooked and we made the first downwards and upwards 9 game tick escalator. So if I flick this lever, you can see the stairs are moving down. This is probably what you saw in the YouTube short I posted and all the other showcase videos. It is the exact same thing as this, just scaled up to 15 blocks tall. And just to prove that it's the same thing, I'll actually point out every single part. So here is the 9 game tick clock. We have the scaffolding, and then the observers looping all the way here, and then all the way under, and then back towards this trapdoor. So that's our 9 game tick clock. Our 3 game tick generator is right here. We have the 2 observers with the scaffolding there, and the trapdoor right under it over there. And finally, we have the 0-tick generator over here, just like the 0-tick generator that I showed over there. So yeah, the 0-tick generator powers this red line, which retracts all of these stairs a block downwards, and then the 3 game tick generator activates all of these sideways pistons, which pushes the steps a block forward. And then we just have some miscellaneous pistons that takes the stairs and just wraps them all the way to the top. But yeah, that's kind of like more basic piston feed tape stuff. So here's the exact same thing, except the stairs are going upwards. And like I said, all the redstone is still the same. It's just kind of moved around. So here is our 9 game tick clock. As you can see, observer, and it loops all the way here, trapdoor, scaffolding. So yep, there is our clock. Here's our 3 game tick generator with the 2 observers, the scaffolding, and the trapdoor. And finally, here is the 0-tick generator. You can see the piston up here and the sticky piston down here, and it's actually this target block that is QCing this bottom sticky piston. So those are the basics on how these things actually work, but oh boy, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Because here's a fun surprise, you can actually mirror all the redstone and just have it right next to each other, and you can have 2 wide versions of this upwards and downwards escalator. And if you want to see it in action, here we go, we have another set, and it looks beautiful. This thing looks really freaking cool, but does it actually move the player? For the upwards one, we just have some trapdoors, and yep, you just saw the composters. All we have to do is kind of just nudge ourselves against the trapdoors, and we just wait for the next set of composters, and boom, we get taken up. Now I know it's not the stairs moving you, but like, honestly, this is the closest thing that you're gonna get. But for the downwards one, you do actually get moved by the blocks. So I just like drop myself down here on the escalator, and you can see that these stairs actually push me forward and drop me down, and we actually go all the way to the bottom, which is pretty cool. So this one is, I guess, more accurate to an escalator, but yeah, and boom, we get pushed out. But there is one fatal flaw. If you've ever seen how an escalator actually works, you would know that these stairs actually go back up diagonally under the part that you step on. So it goes up diagonally, and then it goes down diagonally, whereas ours is this big right triangle. So a third person was added to our group, Mikarific, and together Mika and Sacred made this version, which is the most accurate escalator you're probably gonna get. It's the exact same layout, except they put it on the top and the bottom, so they had to move around some timing so it would actually work. But still, the logic is the exact same, but they just have the layout on both sides, and they just have pistons that feed the stairs back around. But yes, the cool thing about this escalator as well is that all the stairs are on a single plane, like this. If you actually paid attention to these stairs, you would see that they actually get moved to the sides, and then go down, and then they get moved back in. whereas this one, it is all on the exact same plane, no moving to the side necessary, and we get this really cool feed tape effect. It just looks like an escalator, and this one also still works. It's the exact same. We can go all the way down very nicely, very epically. Like the originals, they can also be 2 blocks wide, so yep, there we go. There's a 2-block wide realistic escalator with the bottom also going up. Now you may notice that we only have a downwards version of one, and that's because an upwards version was really freaking hard. And that's in fact the only thing missing in this escalator world. We actually don't have an upwards version that keep all the stairs within the same plane. So I guess that's like my challenge to you. This isn't the end of the video, okay? Don't leave yet. But yeah, that's like a little challenge if you guys want to try and do that, to try and make an upwards 9 game tick clockable escalator that actually keep all the stairs within the same plane. So when we finished all of these, we were pretty proud of ourselves. Honestly, they're pretty fast, they look cool, but then we realized that there was something faster. If you remember that AC Tennis video I mentioned at the beginning, he actually used a layout that looks more like this, where the middle row of pistons gets swapped between a horizontal and a vertical piston. So here's that exact same layout here, and you can see the sequence is pretty simple. It's just the left, middle, right, and then middle, left, middle, right. And yeah, it's a pretty easy sequence to understand just by looking at how these pistons work. But yes, this does work as an escalator, and it does move the block downwards. It does exactly what we want on the other ones, so we thought, can we max this out? And of course the answer was a resounding yes. We have this very fast 6 game tick clock, which does what this does, but this fast. It's so fast that the pistons are clipping into each other. And yes, my Minecraft volume is off intentionally, so you don't have to hear this, but I'll turn it on so you can hear it just for a little bit. I know, a very pleasing sound to the ears. So literally, all we needed to do was just take this layout and these inputs over here and extend them, and now we have this layout. So if I flick this, you can see that this stair moves so crazily fast down these steps, and it just looks really funny. And just like the original layout, you can actually flip the orientation of these pistons to make the stair go upwards, but I'll just show that on the other escalators. But like, this looks so stupid. Look at it. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. Now you might think because it is so fast, there is no way that the player can actually go down this. And well, let's see, does the player go down this? If I step on here, you can see that I'm actually moving down the escalator despite it being all a bunch of 0 ticks. Now you must be thinking, surely the upwards one doesn't work. I mean, you're in a composter. And well, I will say, the upwards one is very inconsistent. It does actually work if you're lucky. So if I center myself on this stair and just wait for the next composter. Come on, I need to prove a point. Please. There we go. And we move all the way up the escalator to the top. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's pretty inconsistent. There we go. Now we made it to the top. I'll put an armor stand in the composter right here. There we go. And you can see that the armor stand will move up all the way to the top very consistently every single time. Same with the downwards design, but you know, you already saw that with the player. And here's the final build with all the decoration, and you can see these this thing looks awesome. These builds look awesome. They may not fully work consistently all the time, but my god, do they look cool. They are such a cool decorative build that you can add to a mall or wherever you want. Now, I'm not going to do a tutorial for any of these escalators because I can do you one better. This entire world that I've been in is going to be up for download in my Discord server, which is in the description. So you can download that, paste it in your worlds, do whatever you want. I don't care. Subscribe, please subscribe.